Let's talk about something that's happening inside pretty much every successful wedding venue. It's this silent, costly problem that just flies under the radar. It's not on your P&L sheet, but believe me, it is costing you a fortune.
So just for a second, I want you to really think about it. What is the single biggest hidden time waster in your day-to-day? You know, the one thing that keeps your team spinning their wheels, looking busy, but not actually moving the business forward.
Now, your mind probably jumps to the big stuff, right? Like the endless back and forth with catering. But that's not it.
Okay, well, what about the absolute chaos of managing decor and a dozen different suppliers at once? Nope, it's not that either.
It's got to be staffing then, right? The last-minute callouts, the no-shows, that whole nightmare. Wrong again. The real culprit, the one thing that is slowly but surely chipping away at your team's focus and energy, day in and day out, is this: answering the same questions over and over and over again. And you know exactly the ones I'm talking about. What time can our vendors get in? Do you have a rain plan? Are we allowed to have real candles? They're all perfectly fair questions, but answering them for the 100th time, it gets old. Each one feels like a tiny little interruption, but they add up. And that, right there, is where the real problem starts. So let's actually dig into the true cost of all this repetition, because this is the kind of math that most venues just never, ever stop to do, but it's having a massive impact on your bottom line. You know, the formula here is shockingly simple, but the result is huge. So let's be conservative. Let's say you get about 25 of these repetitive questions for every single wedding you host. Each one takes, 3 to 5 minutes to answer, plus a little back and forth. Well, before you know it, you've burned 2 to 3 hours on communication that didn't need to happen. And that's per wedding.
Now, let's scale that up. If you're hosting, say, just 10 weddings a month, you are losing 20 to 30 hours. That's almost a full work week every single month. Just gone, poof, vanished into repetitive admin tasks. Just imagine for a second what you could do with all that time back.
But here's the thing, it's not just about the lost hours. It's the ripple effect, right? It constantly breaks your team's focus, which tanks productivity and leads straight to burnout. It means you're slower to respond to those fresh, high-value leads. And maybe the most dangerous part? It opens the door for inconsistent answers, because Sarah might say one thing on Tuesday and John might say something slightly different on Thursday.
And that one little sentence, but someone said it was allowed, that is the nightmare scenario for any venue manager. That's the phrase that makes your stomach drop. Because when communication is scattered all over the place, in emails, texts, random phone calls, accountability just disappears, and then you're stuck putting out a fire on the wedding day that should have never started.
Now, it is so important to understand this isn't the client's fault. They're not trying to drive you crazy, I promise. They are navigating one of the most overwhelming, emotionally charged projects of their entire lives. They're trying to juggle a dozen different suppliers, remember 1,000 tiny details. So if the information isn't super easy to find, what are they going to do? They're going to ask you. It's the default.
And that brings us to the real point here. The problem isn't the questions themselves. It's the system, or lack of one, that we use to answer them. The old methods are failing because they scatter information all over the place instead of structuring it. Let's break down why that's so ineffective.
So many venues think that sending a 12-page PDF info packet is the answer. But let's be real. Clients just skim those things. They get lost in an inbox with hundreds of other emails, and they are a total pain to try and read on a phone. The alternative? A structured central hub where the answers are always up to date, always right there at their fingertips.
This all comes down to opportunity cost. Every single hour your team spends retyping an answer they've already given 100 times is an hour they are not spending on the things that actually grow your business, like improving your operations, building better relationships with suppliers, or drumming up new leads. It traps you in a reactive cycle.
So, this is where we make the pivot. The solution isn't about working harder. It's about a fundamental shift in your thinking. It's about going from being a reactive, on-demand help desk to implementing a proactive system that empowers your clients and, just as importantly, protects your team's time and focus.
And check out how beautifully simple the new workflow is. A client asks one of those familiar questions, but instead of typing out the answer again, your team just replies with a simple, friendly, "Great question." You can find all the details on that right in your event portal. See what's happening? You're not just answering, you're training them to find the answers for themselves.
And the effect, as you can see here, is dramatic. Once your clients learn there's one reliable place to get their answers, a single source of truth, the number of repetitive questions just falls off a cliff.
Your inbox gets quieter, your team gets their focus back. It's a game changer.
And the downstream benefits are just huge. Your staff finally gets that critical strategic time back. Your communication becomes consistent and it's accountable. Your brides actually feel more supported and organized, which lowers their stress. And honestly, your entire operation just looks and feels more premium, more professional.
And this is really the key takeaway from all of this. This shift is not about avoiding your clients or being less helpful. It's the exact opposite. It's about upgrading the entire communication experience so you can spend your time having more meaningful, high-value conversations instead of just reciting the basics.
So I'll just leave you with this one question to think about. Take a hard look at what your team does all day. Are they trapped in a reactive loop, just answering the same questions over and over? Or are they empowered to be strategic thinkers who are actively pushing your business forward? Because the answer to that question, well, that's going to define your venue's future.